Sledgelords, episode whatever. Danny, you had a pretty dramatic weekend, and I'm laughing in your face because I've tried to tell you before that this is what happens when you listen to indie rock or pop punk or whatever the hell you went there for.
So you're taking pleasure in my pain.
I never seen this happen out of Rolling Loud, buddy.
I got to switch genres.
They had a stage collapse. Astro World. A bunch of children got trampled during a rap-infused mosh pit. But at least they didn't cancel for no pussy-ass wind.
It fucked me up. We're going to get into the Vegas story. I just got to say, before I walked in here, I mentioned to the staff that I have a staph infection on my knee.
Do you?
I do. And right when I said that, the first person to pipe up is Trevor. And he's like, "Oh, did you get that shit from the Sacramento River?" And I just and it wasn't like a joke. It was, he sincerely thought there was a 60% chance I got this from swimming in the Sacramento River.
And he knows that you do jiu-jitsu too, which is like a very obvious way to get a staph infection.
Yeah. But I love it how much of the staff here is from Sacramento.
And you do double vaginal, which
I
is
do
another
double
great
vaginal.
way to get it.
I occasionally share a needle. But these guys are just, Sacramento is just, it's like 80% of their brain. Like they can't comprehend anybody getting an infection outside of Sacramento.
Damn, I would have not thought of that. That's funny that he wouldn't be like, did you get it from some dirty surface, that he would hone in directly on the river.
The river. And like it's been probably, Trevor, 8 years since I swam in the Sacramento River. So unless it's like third stage syphilis and it's very delayed, I think it was probably jiu-jitsu.
Wow, yeah, I would assume.
The festival.
Rolling around with a sweaty man, that'll do it. But yeah, you decided, because, okay, this, from my perspective, I would never go to one of these types of shows for the, realistically, unless I had a really good reason. But I see people like Josh. This is the kind of fucking festival that has the type of flyer that will make anyone who grew up on Tony Hawk Pro Skater or who grew up going to Warped Tour or anything like that, if you have this sort of cultural background, you look at this flyer, you're like, My Chemical Romance and Blink-182 and No Effects and every, and probably I'm getting some of the bands wrong because it's a little bit more like 2000s era emo, metalcore, punk, etc. Right? It's not like 90s, although there's definitely probably some bands from the 90s.
Yeah, it spanned anywhere from the late 90s, Bright Eyes, for example, and then it goes all the way up to Bring Me the Horizon, which were total 2008 MySpace bands.
Yes.
Yeah, we can
It's a nostalgia fest.
It's total nostalgia
and
fest.
what's it called? Once Upon a Time?
No, that's, I think, a local fairy tale reading group.
What is it called?
When we were young. When we were young.
When we were, like, that's any less gay.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty.
But there is a festival called Once Upon a Time, I think.
A music festival?
I don't know, maybe.
They sing Mother Goose nursery rhymes.
When we were young.
But I wanted to go because that was the stuff I got into in high school. Right. It's not good music looking back on it, with the exception of...
Don't do that.
No,
it's good. You liked it at the time, so it's good.
I like My Chemical Romance still. When I'm hiking my ass up hills, when I'm doing bench press in a gym, I will put on the Black Parade in order to get a few more reps out.
I remember hearing My Chemical Romance in like 2004, and it was like at a time in my life where I was totally ready to be done with all the emo and punk stuff that I listened to in high school, and I was fully like, no, I listen to rap now. And then I saw a My Chemical Romance video on MySpace, and I was like, fuck, that shit's catchy.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Even though, like, culturally, I don't relate to this weird-ass white face paint wearing ass, whatever the fuck. I'm just looking at him like, I don't like you. Like, the same feeling you get when you look at, like, Freddie Mercury. Where it's like, you made some badass songs, bro, but I don't want to, like, hang out with you.
You wouldn't share a needle with Freddie?
I mean, if I was going to be using a needle, it would probably be an emergency, so...
An emergency to get high?
No, an emergency. Like, if I needed, like, insulin.
Okay, you need insulin.
I would not share a needle to get high. I wouldn't even just do the drug in general. I wouldn't do it if I had my own needle. I don't want to do heroin at this time.
Yeah, me either. Maybe in our golden years. The festival, though, My Chemical Romance, sweet. Right. And they pulled out another dress-up trick at the festival, though I wouldn't know, because I woke up hungover is all get up on Saturday morning.
Okay.
And I'd planned accordingly for the festival.
What did you do Friday night?
Well, Friday night, my girl and I went out.
I had a good time.
We had a good time in Vegas.
So you guys going out means you get drunk and then fight?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It was very
Just
peaceful.
get drunk?
We went to the secret in Vegas, I think, is going out to either pool parties or locals bars.
Interesting.
Are you going to get us age restricted again with that?
No, I don't
With
think
that tobacco, with
we
that
smoke
clove
weed all
tobacco.
the time on here. I don't think that does it. I think
That's not weed.
I think the weed ads does it.
Yeah, we were pretty aggressive about the one where we got high on.
Yes,
weed.
it
was all over the title. It was everywhere.
Yeah. But okay, so you haven't been invited to any fancy clubs or anything. Normally, when I go to Vegas, I don't go out at night at all.
I don't like how you just turned that into a dig.
Well, I'm just saying that.
Did anybody else catch that?
Okay, this is my thing. Is that like I've had 2 weekends in a row now where I could do whatever I want. I know that I know tons of people who go out and do all kinds of fancy stuff. I have no interest. I'm just like having to accept that about myself, is that all these people think going out is super cool and I just don't care at this point in my life.
Mm-hmm. If you're not going out to get pussy, I don't see any point.
And then I think about my life and I'm like, all you did your entire life was work at making money / making content, because a lot of times I make content that basically didn't make any money, and getting ass. The only two things I really have done with my entire life.
What about work on your bar spins?
That's what I'm saying. Like in some twisted way in my brain. Well, I had the bike riding thing for sure. But then I like figured out a way to kind of like make that into a business, after like 10 years.
Oh yeah, there wasn't enough pussy and money in BMX. Yeah, going out to a club if you're not trying to get laid,
I don't get it.
You're paying 10x the value of the alcohol. That's what you're doing. You're getting your eardrums blown out by shitty, we've already covered this, EDM music, and then you're just hopping up and down, pumping your fist in the air. Why do we need this?
The only reason why I would go out is to network, is to just like meet people when they're in this like social state, meet people, get interviews, etc., which negates the whole point of the idea of it just being for fun, because I would clearly be going out to do it because I think that it would be advantageous for me business-wise.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I don't really want to spend like 4 or 5 hours at the end of the day standing up in a loud club just because it might have some marginal effects on my business.
No.
But that's just me. But when you go somewhere with your girl,
oh yeah,
you have to pretend that you want to leave the hotel room.
You have to pretend.
You have to go out and like sip some Jack and Cokes together.
Yeah, I had to go to the bathroom, crush up about 3 lines to get myself steeled mentally to go.
You really
out.
Doing Coke?
No, I did a little bit of Adderall.
Ooh, nice.
That's a bad habit of mine. I'll pick up some Adderall. Actually, some college kids. So I took advantage of my position in this world and
you got
DM'd
Adderalls
a
off
frat
fans?
boy. Yeah, frat boy fan. And I went over to the campus with a backpack on my back, a backwards ball cap, trying to blend in, and I just went up into the frat house, and one of them hooked me up.
How long did this take you?
I was actually filming in the area. I sort of knew the guys.
You filmed the Adderall pickup?
No, I filmed something. Actually, I filmed probably a moment before and after the Adderall pickup. I'm hoping to God we didn't actually pick that up on camera. Well, but I had the Adderall, though.
I had a realization that everybody in those poker tournaments I was playing at the main event in Vegas, that all those people are on Adderall.
Yeah.
Like all day.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
How long's an average poker game going?
If you want to play the main event, you might be there for like 12 days of like 10 hours a day. So yeah, Adderall seems pretty reasonable, right? Because you get really tired and like moody and irrational over the course of that time period. Like you're just a normal person. So at some point, but for me, I can't imagine doing Adderall.
The only reason I do it is because I go to bed really early. I'm in bed by 9 p.m. and I'm asleep by 10 p.m. every night.
Yeah.
And so if I'm in Vegas, that doesn't jive.
Yeah.
I can't do that. If I want to have a good time, which before this, I hadn't drank since July.
But if I do Adderall, I'm going to be up chewing my lip at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Do I look good right now?
I would have to bite off a little chunk. All right, so you wake up, you're hungover as fuck, but you've got tickets for this Nostalgia Fest.
I've got tickets.
Yeah.
Well, that night, too, we actually, my girlfriend and I tried to recruit a stripper somewhere. At first, we're at the bar. There are a couple fans of the channel there. I'm feeling good. I'm taking shots. I'm doing drinks. Eventually, we make it known that, hey, we're trying to go to Palomino Strip Club. And anybody who wants to come, preferably women, I'm fucking Danny Mullen. I don't need a bunch of stinky dudes cramping my style.
Right.
Like, hey, hop in an Uber with us.
And have you guys had a lot of threesomes?
No, just one.
Okay.
But that wasn't necessarily the goal. We just wanted some feminine energy, I think, to break.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. You know, paparazzi ever photograph you walking around with a couple bitches? It looks nice.
It's definitely a good look. When it's just me and my girl walking around, cool. But if I have like 5 girls following me, everybody just acts like I'm so much cooler, even though it's like whatever. Like
Well,
we're just hanging out.
That's something.
Yeah.
Those 4 extra vaginas go a long way. And I wanted at least one more.
It shows real dominance as a man.
Absolutely.
So did you find any girls to hang out with?
A girl comes out of the woodwork. I was pretty drunk at this point. I don't remember how. She's like, oh, yeah, I actually strip at Spearmint Rhino. I know all the spots to go to.
My type.
So we hop in the vehicle, and my head starts turning, and I'm like, you know what? The Adderall's starting to wear off. It's now 2 a.m. I'm tired. We've got a stripper. Why are we going to go pay a cover, break 100 so I have a bunch of ones?
Josh,
and then,
can you get a nice TikTok clip of this for like approximately 10 seconds of us doing this podcast together? Thank you. Follow me, Adam22 on TikTok.
We cannot keep the TikTok out of the podcast.
So you've got a stripper.
I got a stripper, and I'm thinking, like, why not save hundreds of dollars and about 2 miles of driving? Why don't we just go back to the Mandalay Bay? My girl and I put our feet up on the bed and have this chick take her top off.
Love it. Yeah.
Why don't we just get a personal strip show?
Sounds like a great time. But okay, you run into the problem of like a lot of times your desire to go back and fuck is way stronger than your girl's desire. Whereas your girl is thinking like, I have unlimited party energy. I want to stay out later. I want to get more fucked up. Meanwhile, in your brain, you're like, no, I want to go back to the place where it's most likely that we're going to all have sex. That's my brain, at least.
Yeah, I don't think I necessarily wanted to fuck this chick. I was content to. Adam is giving me eyes of pure skepticism right now.
No, I respect it.
But one thing, my girl's party brain that you were talking about, the whole time we were at the bar, it was pretty funny because though I was drunk, on the Adderall, you're also hyper aware of what's going on. So I was watching as a male stripper, first of all, with an OnlyFans, spent 15 or 20 minutes sweet talking my chick.
Oh, love that.
God knows what was said there.
Wow.
And then there were these creepy pickup artist dudes who had clearly picked up like a mystery or a Tyler Durden PDF within the last couple of months, and they were trying out their new game. These guys come out in collared shirts. They got their hair slicked back. And these dudes were like squirrels stealing pieces of your lunch when you're trying to have a picnic. Because anytime I turned my back for more than 5 seconds, I turn around and one of these dudes has his phone out trying to get her fucking phone number.
Wow. I can't handle this. I don't want to be around this sort of energy.
It was all right. And I was, to my girl's credit, one time I was watching eagle-eyed from afar while one of these dudes put his phone over to her. She entered a name, Tanya, and an area code starting with a 7 that I didn't recognize.
But why doesn't she just say, no, get away from me?
No need for a conflict. Here we go. The proper thumbnails.
Oh, Phil's here.
We got a photographer on site.
Okay.
But we get back to the Mandalay Bay. Here, we're going to get to the part that everybody wants to hear about.
Yeah, I want to know if you did double vaginal again.
So
that's how you got staph.
Maybe. That's a cooler story than jumping in the Sacramento River. I want to try to
lean
know
into that. Yeah, maybe you could have a threesome in the Sacramento River.
Get AIDS.
Yeah.
I give my girlfriend the key to the room, and I'm like, hey, baby, make sure insert name here is comfortable. I'm going to pick up some supplies.
Ooh.
So I go straight to the shop downstairs at the casino, and I buy 6 condoms. I don't know, in case I run into 5 black men in the elevator, I guess. I don't know why 6. I buy 3 tall cans of seltzer. What is it? White Claw. Those are in my car still. 3 shots of Jack Daniels and maybe some chewing gum.
Wow.
To stay fresh.
No water?
No water. Come on, dude.
Okay.
We'll worry about the hydration issues the next day. But as I get into the elevator, who's coming down but the stripper chick?
Right.
And she tells me and my girlfriend's in the elevator too, that her boyfriend just called and she has to go most reluctantly. But Adam, I don't, this is why I don't think my mind was really in the threesome mode, because I wasn't pissed off at the least. I was like, well, I still have all this alcohol, and right now a powerful Adderall boner is starting to take shape.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go unleash hell.
Yeah, but unleashing that on 2 chicks instead of 1 would be pretty tight, right?
Yeah, it'd be pretty tight.
You
or at
could
least
say
have
it. It's
one
okay.
watch. You
Sure.
know, have one watch. Just get something spicy going. But
bit
dude,
freaky, yeah.
that hotel room, I'm going to say right now, we got the bathtub running. We did, I don't know what came over us. It was pure anal.
Whoa.
My girlfriend, when she's ovulating, she's not on birth control. So when she calls it a red day, she's got some sort of birth control method where she takes her temperature and lets her know if it's a green day or a red day.
So she's super anal down.
Well, she hung out with that chick, Stella.
Anal princess.
Anal princess.
Who a certain employee walked up to me the other day and said, I don't know if I'm allowed to ask you this, but are you going to have the anal princess on Plug Talk?
Is that certain employee a woman? Is she a fan of Anal Princess?
Yes.
Chicks love Anal Princess.
I had no idea people called her this because I know her by her actual name, but...
My girlfriend, for anybody who doesn't know, my girlfriend's a sushi server. She met Anal Princess at the sushi restaurant. Anal Princess was a customer after my girlfriend had just been telling me about her like the day before. So it was a pretty fortuitous meeting. Anal Princess comes on our podcast. My girlfriend starts hanging out with Anal Princess and is just getting a straight up like the kind of indoctrination that goes on in North Korea. She's getting that, but it's pro-anal sex.
Wow. So you got an existing butt slut getting coached into even further butt sluttery by a more extreme butt slut.
I am in a state of bliss.
Woo!
Adam.
At a hibachi restaurant.
At a hibachi restaurant.
Well, that's how you met it.
And then, my girlfriend's like, yeah, I don't know. I know, Danny, we had plans tonight, but Stella wants to hang out. Oh, yeah, go hang out with Stella. Yeah, you should definitely see her. She goes back to Costa Rica soon, right?
Without you?
Yeah, I just want her spending as much time with this girl as possible.
To just get coached into being more into anal?
Dude.
I would want to be there.
Dude, Adam, on Friday night in Las Vegas,
right.
we pulled out all the stops, dude.
Yeah.
It was just an anal extravaganza.
You should have gone downstairs to the lobby, get another guy, get in there. Just find a dude. Could you do that? Or like roam around the lobby?
I'm sure it wouldn't have been difficult.
Hey, you want to bang my girl's ass?
It's not my style. I'm sure.
Showing her Instagram. Check out my video.
I would have gotten some takers. But, dude, it was like her on top, in the bathtub, on the bed.
All right, at this point, you're just talking about fucking your girlfriend. So I've had enough of this.
Let's move on.
So, okay, you wake up the next day, you're super hungover. Her butt is like a fucking gaping, saggy sock. And you say what? This is when I would start trying to figure out how I was going to bail on the festival.
Oh, I thought you were about to say bail on the relationship. And baby, your asshole now looks like the footwear of a 45-year-old Jewish guy at an Equinox.
Right.
No, we can't do this anymore. We can't.
You wake up.
We wake up, and I get a text. My head is throbbing, as you'd expect.
Right.
Because when you're on Adderall, you can drink unlimited amounts of booze.
Right.
And so you're not keeping up with the water drinking, and you get really dehydrated. I grab my phone. But actually, before I even grab my phone and get any news,
I was doing a thumbnail face.
I thought you were mocking me. It's okay.
No, I was doing a thumbnail.
I start hearing, it sounds like it's 9/11 outside, and I'm in World Trade Center South Tower.
Okay.
Meaning, I'm thinking jetliners are buzzing the 27th floor of the Mandalay Bay.
It's that windy in Vegas.
I realize it's really fucking windy outside.
How does this happen? I don't think I've ever had something canceled because of wind before.
Do you want me to explain the concept of high pressure zones and where the wind comes from?
Nah, that's all right. But so there was a lot of wind.
And I'd seen it on the weather app a couple days leading up to this.
Right.
And everything was beautiful in Las Vegas, Monday through Friday, and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday. Saturday had the little icon.
Okay. That's what you imagine the sound of the icon to be. That's wind for everybody out there.
I start texting my buddy who lives in Vegas. I'm like, dude, it says there's going to be a windstorm on Saturday. Gusts up to 60 miles per hour. And you think music festivals, you're thinking the big towers, the stages.
That's what I'm saying. Everything seems pretty heavy. It's not going to blow away, right?
But then again, those things are sails, dude. The
What?
stages look like Spanish galleons up there. They just have, because behind the stage are all the LED screens, all the banners that say like, the starting line, August burns red.
Right.
It's like a gigantic corsair, like a ship. And that scares me. When I put those two things together, oh yeah, I was worried about the wind, and now it sounds like a 747 is buzzing my hotel window.
Wow.
I throw open the curtains. The palm trees are all horizontal.
Wow.
With wind. And I got a text from one of the dudes I met at the bar that night. Dude, I heard the festival's canceled. So fucking sorry, man.
Wow.
This festival that I'd planned on going to for 6 months.
That they probably planned for like, I don't know, at least a year.
Yes. And it was
dozens of people working their asses off on this project. Millions of dollars spent booking some of the biggest bands in the world.
Paramore, Avril Lavigne, My Chemical Romance, Bring Me the Horizon. Next year, it's going to be Green Day, Blink-182. This is a really top-dollar festival.
Let's see what the Wind has to offer next year.
Dude, I don't know if I'm going to go. But also, like, these bands were all the kind of bands where you like 4 songs.
Yeah.
The kind of bands that if they rolled through your city, you would never stay up late and have to work. You wouldn't risk being tired the next morning to go see the Story of the Year, for instance.
I like this idea, though. They should all have, like, 20-minute sets.
Exactly.
Because most of them don't really have that much more than that to offer.
Yeah. And the only way I would ever go see any of these bands is if they were all together and it was one big super event.
And they're like, most of these bands are in that situation where they would be playing clubs to like 300 people all over America. But instead, they bring them all together where you get to have 1 million people. It makes you feel famous for a minute.
Absolutely. Like the lead singer from Armor for Sleep, like he better have fucked this weekend because it's been slow in that regard since 2007.
Right.
But all of those bands, I'm so excited to see them. This is my childhood going on here, and it's canceled.
Right.
And right after they cancel it, chaos starts erupting all over the Strip. I really regret that I wasn't out there filming a video because it would have been fascinating.
Crazy stuff starts happening because there's all these frustrated indie rock fans?
Yes.
Really?
And the indie rock fans that are going out there, we saw them all over the Strip. They're all between 30 and 40 years old. They're all predominantly working class, I would say. Adam, you're in the 1% of guys with face tattoos.
Right.
As far as income goes. Most of the people who look like you work in muffler shops.
Right.
They work at Jiffy Lube. And now they've flown from wherever, somewhere in the panhandle of Florida. They've flown from Ohio to get out here.
Yeah.
Probably spent a week or two's salary on all the travel accommodations and nothing. That day's canceled. You can buy tickets to Sunday and maybe postpone your flight, but that's going to cost you an extra 500 bones to
But
get
you were
those
only
tickets.
planning on going for one day.
Yeah, because I had set aside time that like, hey, Saturday, I've got my schedule cleared. I can get fucked up. I can recover on Sunday and get shit I need to get done on Monday again.
Right.
I can get right back to work. My schedule won't allow for me to go get fucking hammered on a Sunday night and then drive home from Las Vegas at 11 p.m.
And there is no option to go to this sort of event and not get hammered to you at this point in your life.
I don't think so.
Right.
I mean, do you want to see a bunch of 40-year-old men play songs about teenage heartbreak sober?
I don't want to go to this thing in general, so it's kind of hard for me to imagine. Like, I don't know. But you know what occurs to me, though, is that I feel like my mental state, like I have this thing where once I start to expect something and then I don't get it, my brain goes to like, I'm annoyed. And so when I think about the threesome thing, it's like if I never at any point thought I was going to have a threesome in the night and then we don't have a threesome, what the fuck do I care?
Yeah.
But if you're like bringing the stripper home, all like it's getting so close and then it's like, oh no, she has something comes up, which
in
is
the elevator lobby.
Yeah, that's just like, fuck, I could just imagine, and especially my drunk animal brain, I could imagine myself being like pretty fucking annoyed. But then it's the same thing with this festival. It's like a random Saturday in Vegas doesn't seem too bad. Like we could figure out all kinds of stuff to do. But when I think that I'm going to have this specific experience and then that's taken away from me, something has to happen with that energy, and it might just be me acting a fool at the Wynn, ordering a few too many cocktails.
Yes.
I don't know. Not at this point in my life, but maybe.
And that's what starts happening.
Yeah.
So right away, all of the lower tier bands, the bands that were playing during the daylight hours, they start talking about doing secret pop-up shows all over Las Vegas. My Chemical Romance, those kind of guys, they're not going to be able to find a venue on short notice. It's too big of an operation. But these little bands start announcing, hey, we're going to be at Skip's Barbecue at 9 p.m. tonight. Armor for Sleep and the Starting Line are a bunch of jack-offs. Hawthorne Heights, they announce a show at the Stratosphere. They somehow lock down an arena that wasn't in use at the Stratosphere, and that one in particular becomes the rallying point for all these pissed-off, drunk emo kids who flew out from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
My girlfriend and I start leisurely getting ready for that. Like, oh yeah, we'll go see these bands. I know like 2 songs by each of those bands. Didn't give a fuck, but
Something
I really,
to do.
And mostly for journalistic purposes, I wanted to see what was going on.
Well, you came here, you got to do something, yeah.
Well, I check my Twitter maybe 15 minutes after the show was announced, maybe 30 minutes, but the Stratosphere has security guards herding emo kids en masse away from the building. It sold out, or it reached occupancy in the time it took for people to get an Uber.
Wow.
And the festival was right across the street from the Strat, so all of those dejected, ready to riot emo kids just charged to the Stratosphere and stormed this auditorium. So Twitter videos started emerging, and I might send Josh some after this. Those videos started emerging of people just screaming and yelling and basically just carrying on in the Stratosphere main lobby.
Right.
Like ready to start fucking raping cocktail waitresses, holding up the casino cage.
It's like Woodstock 99. You got nothing to do, and all these people are frustrated. They feel like they've been taken advantage of, so they're just, the energy becomes way different, huh?
Yeah. But I mean, thankfully, when your favorite band is Dashboard Confessional
no
versus
Limp Bizkit,
Korn, yeah. It's the energy's a little bit more subdued. But that starts happening. And then we look at the All-American Reject show that got scheduled at a barbecue place. Immediately, that has a line almost a mile in length.
Yeah, because how many people can the barbecue place have? Like a couple hundred?
At most.
Yeah, so I mean, that sounds crazy as fuck when you've got 20,000 people that were going to go to this festival, right?
I know. And it's just like, and again, to get back to that point we were talking about earlier.
Or more. I guess the festival's bigger. Festival's like 60,000, right?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. But like, it's one thing to wait on the sidewalk of a barbecue place for 4 hours to see all of those bands, but when all you're going to be hearing is that shitty swing song.
Ooh, that band's good though.
And
that's a good song.
You like that song?
Yeah, I do like that song.
And Gives You Hell.
You look like the guy from that band.
It's a compliment. That guy's sexy.
Okay.
I think he's a male model. But I'm not going to wait in that line. There's a picture, dude, that I'm going to have Josh definitely insert right here of a guy dressed up like one of the marching band members from the My Chemical Romance Black Parade crying on a curb.
Shut the fuck up.
That emerged somewhere around this time.
Oh, I can't
around 3
wait
p.m.
to see this.
We got to get it brought up. I can't believe I didn't screenshot it.
Crying because he didn't get into the show?
Dude, the amount of time he spent on his makeup that morning, he probably got up at 5 a.m., and this is probably all he could think about. Like, he might have got fired from his job because he was so mentally distracted all summer about seeing Gerard Way in the flesh.
It's crazy for me because people always give me a hard time, or like, you know, people always want to sort of like backseat drive your entrepreneurship, you know? So they look at my shit and they're like, well, you were basically right there the whole time that Rolling Loud was building what they built and that Lyrical Lemonade was building their festival. Why didn't you ever do a festival? And it's like, fair enough. Obviously, like, they've created great businesses with that and everything, but at the same time, never really been something I was passionate about. And then when I hear stories like this, and I just realize like how easy it would be to spend a year planning an event and then just have it rain, or in this case, wind, which I didn't even know was a reason why a festival could be canceled. It just like really makes me not want to devote my life to doing in-person events with tens of thousands of people.
And you mentioned before this went hot, these mics, that they have to pay all the artists.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think they're paying headliners for something like this?
100,000 plus, a couple 100,000. I mean, at rap festivals, you even hear about people getting like $1 million for headlining spots. I would think that most of these bands though would be more in the like tens of thousands or maybe 100,000 or something like that. But I don't know. Like Blink-182, weren't they on it?
No, they're going to be there next year. But
I feel like Blink-182 probably gets like at least $500,000.
I think so.
But I don't know.
I think My Chem probably got $500,000. I think Paramore probably got a ton of money too.
Yeah.
But you're right. All the little bands that were playing at 1 p.m.
That's what I wonder
is
how do the really small bands, like how many of them are playing for free or for super cheap? Probably a lot of them.
Yeah, just hoping they get a little boost in their Spotify downloads for the month.
It's so obviously just good for their business, even if they don't make much money off this particular performance, you know, just to be there and be part of that. You know.
So they have to refund all the tickets from Saturday, and all the bands are still getting paid.
Does the insurance even begin to cover this? Because yeah, you have to still pay for the venue, still pay all the bands, but then you don't get any of the ticket revenue. You sell zero merch. You know, it's just like, it's so fucked.
And there were reports coming out in a bunch of Vegas magazines that the festival in the week leading up was a complete shit show.
Really?
I guess vendors were pulling out. It came out, too, the new guy who replaced Tom DeLonge in Blink-182. I think his name's Matt Skiba.
Yeah. I seen them perform a couple of years ago. Yeah, and he's from Alkaline Trio.
Yes. He said that the festival announced the lineup without any of the bands having confirmed.
Wow.
Which is a bold move. I kind of respect it on the one hand.
Wow.
It's like me putting on my Instagram story that I'm going to fuck Kylie Jenner in the year 2023.
You're going to go on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, Joe Rogan, you're going to have me. I'd prefer to do a weekend in March. It's sort of like doing that. And most of the bands, I guess, like fucking law of attraction, speak it into existence where it's like, yeah, this is kind of fucked up. We didn't agree, but sure, yeah, we'll do it.
Right.
And it mostly worked out. But there were reports that with the vendors that this was shaping up to be a Woodstock 99 type of fiasco. And I'm still waiting on those stories from how it went down on Sunday. But I just wonder, like, it seems like it wouldn't be that fucking difficult to organize a music festival. It's crazy how many of these stories we hear about these fucking shit shows. Like, don't you just get a guy who used to work for Coachella and he's your advisor and he tells you what to do and not do?
But the problem is that even if you have experts involved, even if you have really, really qualified people, that you could just have one innocent little stampede during a Travis Scott performance, and then there's 10 dead toddlers, and then all of a sudden you're looked at as a murderer and as somebody who's taken a gigantic L on this event. Even though, besides that, I'm sure that they actually made money and everything went well, although I guess when you think about the lawsuits that are coming in, that'll probably negate any potential profits. But I don't know. I mean, I just feel like it's not worth it. It's not worth it to put this much time and effort into this because there's so many things that could go wrong. You're looking at it as like, oh, this should be so easy. I'm kind of looking at it like this seems damn near fucking impossible. And yeah, people pull it off, but it's just, I don't know. I would be so nervous about doing a fucking thing like this. Like just the expectation that many people are going to fly in to see these bands perform that I booked is just like so like nerve wrenching.
And the bands don't give a fuck. They're getting paid either way. You could tell the bands didn't give a shit that the show got canceled.
Really?
Yeah, stories of Manchester Orchestra, for instance, came up of them just drinking in a hot tub once the announcement was made. Free day off in Vegas, or rather $90,000 payday in Vegas where we don't have to do shit. So you are on your own. Nobody gives a fuck about you. The fans don't care about you or your festival. They just want to see the bands.
You ever listen to Madball?
What's that?
Hardcore band. Never mind. I just had him on the podcast, Freddie Madball, and it was pretty crazy just hearing the stories of a real working class hardcore band that's just been going at it for all these years.
Still doing it? Still hopping in the van?
I mean, they were a band in like the early 90s, so it's like, you know, they're like 30 years in, just grinding it out.
Making $25,000 a year each, you think?
I have no idea how much they're making, but he made that perfectly clear. Like, you know, because it would be so easy for him to just act like, yeah, we're killing it, we're doing great money wise, fuck it, and he just makes it clear that it's like, no, we're like, not like we're grinding, we're still doing these tours and shit like that. It's like we're not making that much money, but it does make sense for us to do it. It's not like they go on tour. You know, a lot of hardcore bands, they go on tour for a month. It's basically either they're losing money or they're breaking even. You know, they're making money, but like he's got kids and shit. So it's like it's really interesting hearing that. But also I realized that in his head, this is not even close to over. Like he definitely sees them still being a band and touring for like 20, 30 years, however long you can, pretty much.
Rolling Stonesing it, but at 1/1000th of the price point.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy that we used to look up to the guys in those bands? I remember there was this local band, Catherine, this metalcore band in Sacramento, Trevor, that I really liked.
Right.
The bassist got a staph infection from swimming in the Sacramento River. No, these guys, I remember seeing them live.
I saw those photos on Is Anyone Up?
What's that?
I saw the photos of his staph infection.
Whose? Oh, the bassist. But I remember seeing these guys live, and I remember thinking, like, wow, what a great life. Like, and I remember driving down the street after the show, listening to their record again, being like, it'd be so great to be in the band Catherine, because no matter what happened to you, you would always be happy, knowing you were a rock star. That was seriously how my mind thought. I didn't realize that they were making probably poverty line level incomes.
Right.
And that was at the peak of their popularity.
That's such an innocent time in your life when you're like high school age / early 20s and you think that your local metalcore bands are a big deal. because
Yeah.
they're like playing like 200-person shows. I definitely had that period in my life where I thought that all these bands were like really fucking killing it. And in retrospect, but I love that time period in your life where you don't know or care about the size of the shit that you're into. You know, like I see all these kendama kids who are like geeking out about getting like 10 followers from a viral reel or something. And I just realized like they love this shit so much that they don't give a fuck about the fact that this is totally irrelevant and that like that this is just a mystery to the vast majority of the world, because I'm in a huge niche with rap. You're in a huge niche with comedy in a sense. Like these are things where you just know that the ceiling is fucking massive. You know, the ceiling for comedy is playing to like 20,000 people or some shit. The ceiling as a rapper is rapping to like, you know, tens of thousands of people, whatever. But then like when you're young, you just don't really like calibrate for that, or at least I didn't.
Yeah, and it can fuck with you now that you get into these careers, you and I.
Yeah.
Like for me, I remember when I first started my YouTube channel and I got 1,000 subscribers. Dude, I was so psyched. Immediate Instagram celebration post. And in my head, I thought like, you know, all those stuck-up sorority girls who rejected me in college, they're going to see that I got 1,000 subscribers on YouTube now. They're going to be DMing me looking for a blowjob.
But it's crazy how as you get into a position in life, all of a sudden it takes so much more to move the needle on your happiness. Like you were so happy about having 1,000 followers or 1,000 subscribers. But then if you went on some podcast or did a collaboration with somebody and all of a sudden you just got 1,000 follower boost that day, it would make you like a little bit happy, but it's not like really gonna move your happiness, right? And the other day I had this reminder because I was working out, and as I'm coming back into the house, I just see on the street outside my house, I see a $20 bill and then another $20 bill, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I think
That's what happens when you live in Beverly Hills.
I know.
There's
I'm
just
like
cash
I'm
floating
I'm
down
like
the
I have
street.
to go look again. I was already like 20 feet away. I was like, no, I have to go look again. I went back. I turned the light on my phone. I found another $20 bill. I found $60, dude.
In the gutter outside of your house?
Literally, like right just next to some car. Like somebody must have dropped it. But
It was some lady walking her Pomeranian, and it fell out of her pocket when she grabbed her phone.
I don't know, dude. But I
not
found
worth bending
$60,
over for.
and I was thinking about how, for the vast majority of my life, that $60 would have made me like really happy.
Yeah.
And that now it doesn't really mean anything, but it still felt really good, even though it doesn't really make sense that it feels good.
It was a symbol, that
Yeah,
$60.
Yeah.
And also, what we're in now, it's not just that our nerves have been fried to pleasure and to the progression in our industry. It's also that we just know so many damn successful people down here in Los Angeles that if you're making money that you couldn't imagine ever making in your life when you were in your early 20s, say you make $500,000 a year. Most people would consider that a stupendously great income. But we know people who make $5 million, $10 million a year, and we see the way they're living, and we see the houses they live in. And in Los Angeles, everything's so much more expensive. $500,000 a year, you're like, fuck, dude, I got to step it up.
Yeah.
This is paycheck to paycheck.
I refuse, though. People who like actually pick up a lot of fucking really expensive habits along the way. Like, what would be your increases in how much you're spending on your life if you were making, you know, a million, or, you know, let's say more, let's say making $5-10 million a year?
Well, first of all, Adam, I'd like to
what are you
get out
gonna
of the
do?
2008 Mercury Sable.
Okay.
I'd like to upgrade that.
Okay.
Is that understandable?
That is fair.
I would like to, and my apartment's very nice. I would like to get out of the mid-city hood where I'm literally dodging M80s every day.
Does it feel like that for real? Or you just hear about crime in your area?
No, my neighborhood it's safe. I don't think it's unsafe, but it's very working class and very, I mean, next to us is a Section 8 housing unit
You're like
where
adjacent to hoods?
everybody immediately next to me. So yes, literally adjacent to me.
Right.
They all have a mental disorder, and a lot of them are hoarders. And so there, almost every morning, there will be a pile of debris in front of our apartment that somebody living in a studio had to get rid of to make room for more shit he brought in with his shopping cart. That sort of stuff. And
Right.
I can't walk to a cafe. I can't walk anywhere. I would like to slightly upgrade my living situation. And in LA, to buy a decent house in a decent neighborhood, what, $1 million at least, but more likely 1.5. Josh has given me the thumbs up higher.
Yeah.
$2 or $3 million is what you need to live in a very nice house in Los Angeles.
Yeah. I mean, if you spend $1 million, you could definitely get a cool house, but you're probably going to be like a little bit further away from the actual city for sure.
I rented a house that was $1 million in LA in a pretty close to everything area. The neighborhood itself, though, still was covered in bum shit. Bums were smoking crack on a bus bench out in front of my house routinely. And the house looked like a house that would cost $75,000 in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Right.
It is an absolutely standard 3-bedroom shitty house.
Okay, but upgrading your house and your car, those are like the two basic things that every person would probably do if they had money, because those are kind of the main status markers for our world. But beyond that, though, because that's my problem, is I can't even... I don't think it's a problem. It's probably a good thing that I can't really think of anything that I would love to just blow money on.
No, I agree. Other than that,
yeah.
I mean, your vacations will probably get a little pricey.
Vacation's definitely worth it to spend more on, yeah.
Eating out.
True.
Hookers.
Yeah. Me being on a diet, the eating out thing, that is kind of a weird feeling to be like, oh, I like worked all these years to basically eat like pigeon food. So that I can try to look better on TikTok.
A lot of seed, huh? Dude, I can't believe you. Your vanity and your TikTok obsession.
Do you think you're not going to last on TikTok? You're too hated?
No, we're going to try. I think I'm going to try to hire one of my part-time employees full-time next month, and we're going to start cutting up short-form content.
What if Danny Mullen is just living on the Sledgelords account too? That way it's not like you.
What do you mean?
Like you could just use the Sledgelords account if you yourself can't exist on there.
Oh,
like,
I got it.
Like, for instance, Sneeko, we were like toying with the idea, and I'm sure he has all kinds of opportunities, but like he could probably work for No Jumper and be on our videos all the time and be a podcast co-host, even though he himself got his YouTube channel banned. It's kind of crazy.
And then he could have his own vlog series on No Jumper.
He could do whatever on
Live
this channel
on
because
No
it would be like him vlogging for No Jumper, even if our financial agreement was that we were like basically compensating a large percentage of that money. That's kind of crazy.
It's so depressing.
Skirt around that band.
It's so depressing to even think about the Sneeko situation, dude. I can't do it. No, I hate that shit.
It's crazy.
China, though, dude. Thinking of TikTok, I was reading a book last night. I was trying to get to sleep, but my hours are still the hours of a crackhead because I've been doing Adderall in Las Vegas.
Right.
I was reading a book last night on China's atrocities. Dude, when they had that one-child policy,
right.
If they found out that a woman was pregnant with a second child, they would drag her into a state-run hospital and give her a forced abortion.
What?
Dude, they would induce artificial labor and then drown the baby in front of her.
What the fuck? Really?
China's fucked up, dude.
China is fucked up.
And you are dancing and pirouetting and weightlifting shirtless on their platform.
Yep. And I really actually think that it probably should be banned.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Because it's spy shit.
But it's not.
Espionage.
For the time being, I'm just going to engage and just gleefully take part.
I want to do a TikTok with you.
Oh, we should. Let's do a dance.
You want to do a dance?
Oh, I have a dance.
Right after this?
Yeah.
What's the dance?
It's, okay. It's basically like you go like this 3 times, and then you go like this, and then I forget the last part. I did it with
like
AB
this?
and Gina.
Is this correct?
Yeah, this is part 2 of the dance, yeah. It's a Destroy Lonely song. I've never listened to the full song, but I've heard the sound about 1 billion times on TikTok.
If BMX biker Adam could go 15 years into the future and see you doing this, would he kick you immediately in the nutsack?
I don't want to hear his opinion.
He wouldn't like what you're doing.
It's foul. But hey, we're out here. We're using social networks to try to stay young in the eyes of our audience.
And for all the shit I've talked on TikTok, I'm down to do a dance.
I'm so down.
I'm so down to do a dance. And absolutely, we're going to have clips going up on there soon once I start cutting up short form content.
Dude, my pee situation is out of control. Like,
you gotta piss a lot?
I have to pee like every 45 minutes. I don't understand.
I have to piss all the time, too. A lot of people talk shit on my bladder size.
It's just because I'm like eating really healthy, so I don't have that many carbs. So somehow the water just like flushes through my body instantly.
A very scientific take on things.
I think that's how it works.
It might also be that you're drinking more water because you're minding your health. You've got 2 bottles next to you.
Well, I haven't cracked either of those. But look, I just had to piss that bad, and look at my water. I'm pretty sure this is exactly the amount of water that I had when I left the house. So I don't think I took even a sip of water this whole time, and I still had to piss like urgently 45 minutes into the podcast right there.
And it was more volume than you've drank out of that Camelback.
It was just straight Nile River, dude. It was a lot of pee.
I have to do this. I have a Gatorade bottle next to my bed, and it really upsets my girlfriend. But
in the night, you pee in it.
3 times a night, you'll just hear shh. And that's me filling up a Gatorade bottle, dude.
You really do that? What, you can't get up?
I put my little weenie in the bottle and just let it go.
You can't get up.
I can. I'm physically able to. Do I want to? No.
Well, how far away is your bathroom?
It's about 10 feet.
I mean, I am the same way, especially now that I have like so much less carbs. I feel like I'm waking up to pee 3-4 times in the middle of the night.
Dude, you got to get the bottle.
It's about 10 feet.
When I do, you know how pilot whales can float around the ocean with half their brain asleep?
I could just get out of bed.
But you wake up when you do that.
Not that much.
I'm not fully awake. I've woken up sometimes and there's a full Gatorade bottle of piss and I don't remember doing anything to it.
It's not that much of a wake up.
It's a big wake up.
I wake up a tiny bit, like not really. My eyes barely open. Like I have almost no recollection of any of the pees that I took last night during my sleep, except for the fact that they happened because I'm basically still sleeping while it happens. If anything, it's kind of nice because it's sort of cold. I get up from under the cover. I pee. Feels good. I'm cold. The pee is hot. Then I like jump back under the cover. All of a sudden, the cover feels really good because it was kind of cold in the bathroom.
I've never seen you more giddy and joyful than when you just described getting up to pee in the bathroom. So, keep doing it.
Honestly, going to bed just makes me really happy every night.
It's nice.
Just getting in there and just being like, 8 hours of nothing. Less than nothing.
I like it when I get in a little early, too, so I have like 9 hours.
Oh.
So if I fall asleep 30 minutes early, I'm cashing in on my 8 plus some.
For me, if I can get 8 hours, that's pretty luxurious because I'm like pretty down to get 6 or 7 or 5 with the kid, and I just have to deal with it.
Oh, yeah.
Just fight through it.
Yeah, I feel like 6 or 7 is still good with a kid. But one disclaimer about the piss bottle. There was an incident in San Francisco, because I've been doing this for 10 years. There was an incident in San Francisco in 2015 where I was pissing in a Carlo Rossi bottle. And a Rossi bottle, if you've seen them, they're the size of a basketball.
Right.
They're the size of a basketball. And I would sometimes go 3 nights without ever emptying the bottle.
Right.
Because it just has such a large volume.
You're just gathering that much piss. But okay, this is the thing.
For the winter.
If you pee in a bottle and then you leave it for more than like a day, it starts to smell so bad when you uncap it.
Dude, there was a white calcium-like material building up all over the bottle. And soon it started to morph from white into this strange purple and brown.
Ugh.
There might have been a mushroom growing out of the interior of the Rossi.
It gets super dark the longer you have the piss sitting there. A mushroom.
But dude, get this. Get this. I come back from the Marina District, which is where we went out chasing pussy when I was in my 20s. I come back hammered one night with some little number I picked up at the Tipsy Pig. Guess what's on the floor uncapped?
I love that you have the uncapped. Are you fucking serious? The capped version is like kind of gross, but uncapped?
When you do it every night for 10 years, you're liable to screw up once or twice. Haven't you ever forgotten to set the alarm?
No, but I had this exact situation happen to me where back in the day, because I was playing poker, so it's like you have all these tables going. Now I play tournaments where there's a break every hour for 5 minutes, right? So it's great if you want to take a piss.
Yeah.
You line it up so you take your piss break once every hour. My problem is that I was having to piss so bad yesterday, 10 minutes before the break, I'm completely fucking up my schedule because I can't wait a full hour, a full 55 minutes. But anyway, back in the day, I'm playing cash games, so it's like it's a huge pain in the ass to have to go stand up and go to the bathroom. So I'm keeping a gallon jug under my desk and just pissing into this.
Playing online.
Yeah, and girls are like coming over, and there was a couple times where I forgot to remove the piss jug, and they saw it and were disgusted. And
that's lemon lime Gatorade, baby.
And you just have to tell them about it like as if it's like a badass part of playing poker. It's like, yeah, I piss in a jug.
Yeah, fighter pilots do the same thing.
Yeah. I don't do it anymore, but I used to live that life.
Well, I knocked over my jug, and dude, it smelled of straight ammonia. Just whatever collects at the bottom of a dumpster in the summertime in a parking lot in Louisiana.
You knocked it over in your home.
3 nights worth of piss in the fetid Carlos Rossi bottle.
Dude, your
with a girl.
girlfriend should break up with you.
Well, she wasn't in the picture at the time.
I don't care. The fact that this happened at any point in time is enough for her to break up with you.
So it's done because
Leave
of this.
him, sis.
It wasn't the graphic description of anal sex I shared about her earlier. It's that I peed in a bottle
that
once.
makes her a way better life partner for sure.
It was
but
pretty tight.
Anal princess, anal princess Mullen.
Anal Princess Mullen. But dude, this, like, I had to swab and scrub mostly the next morning after the chick left, but the scent never left that room. And that's the one word of caution I want to give you before you start using the bottle trick.
I'm glad I don't know enough about what that would smell like, but to me, in my brain, that like the wood floors in my house, I don't think I would ever be able to get the smell out that would come from that. Like I feel like I would have to call the city.
What kind of house you living in?
Don't worry about it. But bro, you can come over. But bro, that smell. I thought of this. Picture this. Can you picture the smell in your head based on these words? Dirty Chinese restaurant.
I thought you were about to say dirty Chinese pussy.
No, that's hot.
Which is,
I don't know if I ever had a bad one.
I like how the Chinese pussy would smell any different than whatever else.
Chinese vag is fire.
It's pretty clean.
Yeah.
They're naturally clean people. Dirty Chinese restaurant.
Can you just smell it?
Wet market in Chinatown.
Ugh, that's way worse.
Yeah, I can smell it.
The distinctive thing about the dirty Chinese restaurant smell is the fact that you're picturing like the Lysol smell with like the orange chicken smell with the like not terribly strict health board smell.
And the smell wafting over from the cutting board where they just decapitated a goose.
Just killing all kinds of random animals.
You know, and then when they missed a shipment, like, oh, we missed shipment from San Francisco. What do we do? They just go out back. There's a park, and they just throw a net at a duck and wrestle it back in and pass it off as goose after beheading it.
When I was reading articles about the wet markets, I was glad that I didn't know what that smelled like.
The wet markets in Wuhan?
Yeah. Like where they cooked up the COVID.
Allegedly.
Well,
now that story is less accepted, huh?
Yeah, but I mean, just like the idea that there was just all these filthy animals just living in the same quarters and that it was enough to create a plague.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That makes you interested, though. Is like, should we be doing government interventionism into places that just have lax health standards? Like, should we do a drone attack on these wet markets? I can think of worse ideas.